Right. Okay, so the first question we have is if you can kindly tell us a few words about the history of the company. And we have Patrick with us and GC as well. So if you can elaborate, Patrick, on a few words about the history of the company.
The history of the company is like very simple. In fact, it's our father, who are passionate by electronics and by music. So it's not his job, it's his hobby. So he learned electronics by himself, and he was a radio amateur. So he was very aware of the hardware, because in the past time, the radio amateur make themselves the emitter or the receptor. So, like a music lover, he make a first amplifier, tube amplifier, like the emitter or the receptor of the past. And he listen music. So many people come at the house to listen music, and from mouth to ear, the rumor of a good music is played in the south of France
through this tube amplifier.
So the tube amplifier, and it came to the ear of a distributor in Paris, the most important distributor, and we have a phone call to say I have heard there is something interesting to hear in the south of France. Would you come in Paris? Say, why not? We go to Paris, we make a little show, and there is many people who go and are very interested by the sound. So in 1983, we create the JADIS company.
JADIS company. So 1983 was the constitution of the company.
Yes.
What do you think about the tube amplifiers, which are now very healthy in the market still? They're going very well, despite the fact that they have a very vintage look and feel, and as an idea they're quite old. But in the market they do very well. Maybe GC can elaborate on that, because it's more technical, and how can this sort of equipment sound so much better and give a feel like more realistic?
It's difficult to explain technically side this kind of thing. Tubes amp are I don't know. I feel it's more analog than other, than solid state or digital. It's a kind of life is analog, you know, and the tubes sound always better feeling to the human ear. I think it's the reason why I think it's.
Are you developing and upgrading your equipment all the time? Are you?
Oh yes, of course, because the technology change, materials change, and we want always to upgrade, to make better.
So there has been much development, would you say, in the last 30 years, that the company is almost 30 years old? Has there been great development in your material, the hardware, any upgrades as well?
Yes.
So that the tubes themselves, they get better and better, so to speak?
It's not sure. We work every day to find good tubes and to match tubes and things. I don't know if the tube manufacturer use new technology, new machine or new materials. I don't know. But we work every day on the tube quality to find the good one. But this past 2 or 3 years, we don't
there
find
has been
yes.
But still the quality is fantastic, so everybody seems to be happy, consumer-wise.
Yes, it's maybe the biggest job our biggest job to keep the quality.
Is that, would that be a part of your goals for this decade? Because I was about to ask you what were your goals back in the 80s and what are your goals now as a company, and what is your vision now?
I think the goal is always the same. It's to sell not electronic, but to sell pleasure. We want that our customer, when they buy our electronic, feel very good to listen music. It's like a passion. Not electronic is not important. The most important is the reality of the music and your feeling with the music. And the goal is always the same, to make more and more pleasure.
Okay, now this is one for JC, I think. Do you believe in the so-called server-based applications, computer handled music? What is your view on that?
It's very difficult to know today, because it's just the beginning. If the technology is done in the right way, it can be interesting. But you know, the CDs appear in 80s, 1980s, and to make it works well, we wait more than 15 or 20 years. So this kind of technology can be good, but the first problem will be the software itself, the files you can find, and after the way to make the treatment in digital and the access we have to the technology.
Can you give us any hints on how to upgrade our own tube amplifiers? I mean, do you support the internal cable upgrade and some other sort? And to sort of, all the hobbyists now, they're trying to make the sound much better themselves.
Okay.
So if you can give us a little hint or tip on how to upgrade our own system at home. And
Yes.
I have some examples here, such as internal upgrades via cables, capacitors, etc.
I think for upgrade the sound, maybe I don't want to say it's difficult or it's not difficult, but when we make an amp, we have the same component that everybody, the high-end capacitor, the high-end soldering, but it's not because it's the high-end and the most expensive that it was the best at this position. We put the right component with air only, not with instrument and not with the repetition of the component. So maybe somebody can put another capacitor inside, maybe more expensive, more technological, maybe the result of the sounding is not
would be even worse.
expected.
Also, what do you think about the competition of the Chinese products, and basically we know what the market is in China is like, trying to imitate components, amplifiers, you name it. So how do you stand against that in the sense that market-wise?
I think it's
business-wise?
not the same market. We sell in China. So the Chinese product in Europe maybe can be benefit because the price is very low. I don't want to speak about quality because they make progress every time, but the competition to the price are very low. So when somebody cannot afford JADIS or audio research or something like that in Europe, in France, everywhere. So, but they can afford a tube amp. That's very important. Comes from China because he upgrade his ear with tube first, and after maybe when he learn and maybe it's a future potential consumer for us.
For us, exactly. So you are using this in your favor, so to speak.
Yes.
Did you ever have any commercial problems with the Chinese markets, as in stealing your ideas or your products?
No. You know, we have an alert on your website about copy. We find some copy of our product, pure copy. But the guy who buy a copy don't buy an original.
You are very aware of the European market, obviously, and we would like you, if you can compare it to the US market as well, if since you have expanded your business internationally, what are the differences and what are the chances that a company has in the US market and the UK?
Yes.
Including Greece, of course.
Yes, in Europe we have a good market. In Greece, in Germany too. So American, we start a new process in this country. We have a good sale, and but the problem is American have a big production themselves, a quality production.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like Chinese.
Of course not. Mm-hmm.
So there are more competitors. It's more hard to enter very strongly in the market.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you. I have a question for GC this time, and it is it has to do with the separation between the single-ended amplifiers and the push-pull ones, and whether this would be a choice based on budget or quality, and what is your view on that, and what should the buyer choose if he is starting on a low budget, say, for example?
For me, the choice is only a question of taste and feeling, only because the budget is quite the same for the push-pull amp and single-ended amp. Usually we name single-ended triode amp, which use triode, direct heated triode tubes.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of amps have low power, but very nice medium high frequency, very I don't know how to explain. It's very thin. You see, push-pull is first more power. It's made with penthode tubes, and it's more powerful. So for the audiophile who want to listen to big music like orchestra, like every time, most of time, maybe it's better to have more power. In the case of high efficiency speakers, there is two schools. Usually, high efficiency speakers are used with triode amps because the power is low, the quality is very good, but the efficiency of the speaker compensate the power of the amp, and the result is quite different than a regular speaker with a push-pull amp. But there is another school which use big power amp on high efficient speakers, and the result is quite interesting too. We have this experience in Asia, and it's interesting too. So finally, I think for me it's a question of taste.
It's a matter of passion.
Yes, because the sound identity is already different. For the voice, it's fantastic. The high efficiency speaker, low power triode, for the small band, you know, it's quite good.
Okay, that's all for now. Thank you very much for being here, JC and Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.